Hi, I'm Tyler from Table Takes, and today we're talking about Splitz. It is a card game for 2 to 4 players by Ultra Pro Entertainment, and it is designed by Igor Ganja, Lesia Yatsko, and Anastasia Senko. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing those names correctly. I'm so sorry if I got it wrong. Let's talk about how it's played, and I'll give you my thoughts on the game. All right, in Splitz, your 2 to 4 players are going to be trying to get as many cards as they can to score the points for that type of card. So for instance, whoever has the most 10s at the end of the game will score 10 points. Whoever has the most 9s at the end of the game will score 9 points. So it's just you're trying to have the most of something to be able to score that thing. In the deck, there are 15 jokers, which can be assigned to any number. This is what a joker looks like. There are 10 10s, 9 9s, 8 8s, and so on. So there's only one 1. We happen to have it dealt out at the start of this game. But we're set up for a 3-player game, and there's always a dealer each round. So a round is when you deal out 7 cards in a 2 to 3-player game. In a 4-player game, it'll be 9 cards, but the principle is the same. You're going to have these 2 cards given to the dealer. Let's say in this case it's the pink player. And once those cards are dealt out for everyone to see, that player takes those cards and is going to divide the display into 3 segments: white, gray, and black. And the arrows kind of show you, it's a helpful visual aid, I guess. But let's just say the pink player took these cards as the dealer and decided these 2 cards are going to be white, these 2 cards right here are going to be gray, and these 3 cards will be black. Now every player has 3 personal player cards. There is a white, a gray, and a black in here. And simultaneously, they're all going to put one of those cards out to vote for the section that they want to take. Remember, you're trying to get cards so you can get points for having the most of something. So in this case, let's say that they all voted. Then you vote simultaneously. You flip them over simultaneously and reveal what you have chosen. Now in this case, the green player chose the black section, so they would take the 1 and the 2 7s here. And they are uncontested. Great. They got some cards, and I don't have a lot of space here, but they would just put these in their personal tableau. Now, if at the end of the game the green player had the most 7s, they're going to score 7 points. As it is right now, they're winning with 7s. In the 7 category, they are the one with the most. There's only one 1 in the whole deck, so I suppose that's secure. That's great. But the other 2 players, they chose the same category. What happens then is anything that was not voted on, by the way, is removed entirely from the game. So the grays, those 2 cards are out. Everyone knows a 9 and a 10 have been removed. It happens often in the game that you have to remove something because usually people are voting for similar things. In this case, then we just have 2 left, and it's kind of arbitrary what colors you choose, but you just divide those into 2 or 3 if there are more cards again. And now in this case, the yellow and the pink player are the only ones voting, and they would, because they tied for this, and then they would, put their cards back and they would pick a new one and vote again. Now, if, they both chose white again, no one's going to get that card. You can't divide that any further. No one voted gray. These cards would be simply removed from the game, and the yellow and pink player got nothing for the round. If they voted for, let's say, pink chose gray. If they voted for different cards, then great. The yellow player would take the joker, and the pink player is going to take the 10. And then you deal out another 7 cards. The dealer cards are passed to the next player to the left. So in this case, maybe yellow would be the dealer. Deal out another 7 cards and go again. And you go through the entire deck, so everyone knows all of the cards that are going to come out, and you can kind of keep track of who has the most of what and what you want to go for. But the choices are always the same. Am I going to vote for white, gray, or black? Now this player could, divide this. I don't know. This maybe is bonkers to do this, but it's totally legitimate. They could do this. Everyone would be voting on this. Now, if 2 people voted on, this where it's got 4 cards, you're going to have to divide those 3 ways. Like I said, if there's 3 or more cards, you divide it 3 ways. If there's just 2 cards, you're going to end up dividing it into one or another color. But let's say 2 players voted for black here. Let's say it was, the green and the yellow player ended up this round voting for black. Then the dealer, whoever the dealer is, would decide how to divide that. So the yellow player in this case would decide, okay, well, I gotta, after these were all resolved, it would be, okay, I gotta divide these somehow. Maybe they did this. And then these two players, again, would vote for the thing they want to try to take. And it goes on like that. So I'm just trying to illustrate what happens if there's more than 2 cards or even 3 cards that you'd have to divide. The dealer would decide how to divide those when there's a tie. And so at the end of the game, you're going to get the points for the cards you have the most of. In this case, the green player would get 7 points at the end of the game if the game was over and they were the ones with the most 7s. And to score, the rule book kind of suggests, okay, put out a card, kind of resolve each number, decide who has the most, and put the card out in front of you, and you've resolved that number now. Green's going to get 7 points, and you just kind of go on. Everybody puts their cards out, see how many points you got. The winner will be the one with the most points. If you end up getting a joker with anytime you get a joker, you will put it with something that you already have, so you can't create a new column. If you have 4s and 6s, you can't create a 10 out of this. You have to put it with a number you already have. If you end up taking it like this player did at the start of the game and you have nowhere to put it, it simply will be paired with the next number you take. So if on the subsequent round someone had grabbed this player had grabbed a 4 and a 10, they could then decide, I want this to be a 10. Or I want this to be a 4. And you can't shuffle jokers mid-game. It's where you put it is where it stays the entire game. Everyone can see. There's no hidden information in terms of what cards are in your tableau, your personal tableau. So everyone can see at all times how many cards you have of a specific number. So you go on until the deck is depleted, constantly rotating who the dealer is, and the winner will be the person with the most points at the end of the game. All right, that is Splitz. In terms of component quality, I would say this game is fine. The cards are fine. I don't know how well they'll hold up over time, but they seem to be okay. They're not like a linen finish or anything, but they're easy enough to shuffle, and seems like we'll get a fair number of plays out of these. The same quality of the player cards, the same finish on them and everything, and these are just fine. They do their job. This game is fun. In terms of take it or leave it, I say take it. It's a good game to have. It's a good filler to be able to throw in there. You might get 1 or 2 plays out of it, and then people move on. But it's so fast. It's like 15 minutes, and you're done. So there's really not much squabbling over this. In terms of analysis paralysis, which can sometimes happen with numbers games, you only have 3 things you're deciding every time. So there's really not an AP problem here. People are going to vote, and sometimes they'll vote based on what they want. They're just solely focusing on what they want. Sometimes they'll vote because they're like, I'm going to vote what I think that person's going to vote for, because then at least we'll get those cards divided up and they won't get so many of them, because that'll help them too much. There's a couple of avenues, I guess, for strategy there, and you're really just playing your opponents. It's a lot of fun. It's just you play it so quickly, and then it's over, and you could be like, hey, yeah, let's try that again. Good job. Let's try again. Or just whip it out every once in a while and be like, hey, let's play Splitz. It's probably $7, I think, is what I paid for this, and it's nice to have a game like this that is so inexpensive that you can just whip out every once in a while as a nice quick card game. Great game. Take it. It's a good buy.